Virgo, put the phone down. I mean it. Put it face down on the table. Step away from the window. Stop refreshing that page. Stop checking to see if the little indicator has turned green. Stop holding your breath every time a car slows down near your building. Stop flinching every time your notification sound goes off, hoping it is them, then hating yourself for hoping it is them. Stop torturing yourself with the maybe and the what if and the silent countdown you have been running in your head for weeks, maybe months, maybe years. Because I am here to tell you something that your anxiety does not want to accept. Something your overthinking has been circling but refusing to land on. Something that is going to hit you like a door swinging open after you have been pushing against it with your whole body. The games are over. Do you hear me? The games are over. The hot and cold, the push and pull, the coming close enough to warm you and then retreating far enough to freeze you, the silence that lasts just long enough to make you question your own sanity, followed by a burst of attention so intense it feels like the sun itself is apologizing for setting the calculated distance, the strategic absence. The way they seem to know exactly how long they could ignore you before you started to slip away, and then the way they reappeared at that exact moment, as if they could feel your detachment across miles, across screens, across the very fabric of space and time. All of it. Every single round of that exhausting, soul-draining, heart-shredding chess match they have been playing with your emotions. It is done. It is finished. It is dead. And what is rising from the ashes of their little performance is not the same person you have been waiting for. It is someone far more dangerous, far more honest, far more obsessed. Because Virgo, this person wants you back, not casually, not conditionally, not in the half-hearted, lukewarm, non-committal way they have wanted you before. They want you back with an obsession that is currently eating them alive from the inside out. And I need you to be ready, because when obsession, this pure, collides with a heart as guarded as yours, the explosion is going to reshape everything. I want you to think back to the pattern. I want you to remember the exact shape of the cage they built around your heart, not with bars, but with inconsistency. The way they would look at you like you were the only person in the world, like the rest of the universe had blurred into background noise, like their entire existence had narrowed down to the space between your lips and the sound of your voice. You would feel it. You would feel the heat of it. You would feel seen in a way that made your careful, organized, self-protective Virgo soul drop its guard for just a moment. And in that moment, you would give them something precious, a piece of truth, a glimpse of the real you, a confession you had not planned to make, a tenderness you had been saving for someone who proved they deserved it. And then, just when you started to believe that this was real, just when you allowed yourself to imagine a future where you did not have to brace for impact, they would go cold, ice cold, Arctic cold. The kind of cold that does not announce itself with a fight or an argument, but with a withdrawal so subtle and so complete that you would wonder if the heat had ever existed at all. The texts that went from paragraphs to one-word answers. The calls that went from hours to minutes to nothing. The presence that went from magnetic to phantom. The plans that got canceled with excuses so vague you could not argue with them. The affection that got rationed like it was a limited resource they were afraid of running out of. And there you would be, Virgo, standing in the wreckage of your own hope, analyzing what you had done wrong, replaying every conversation, checking every timestamp, wondering if you had been too much, too intense, too available, too honest, too real. You would try to fix it. You would try to adjust your temperature to match theirs, to become cooler so they would not feel pressured, to become smaller so they would not feel overwhelmed, to become less so they would not feel the need to run. And it never worked, because the problem was never you. The problem was never your intensity or your availability or your beautiful, terrifying realness. The problem was that they were playing a game they did not know how to stop, a game they learned long before they met you, a game that kept them safe by keeping everyone else uncertain. But here is what I am seeing tonight that is making my pulse race. Here is what is different now. Here is what has shifted in the energetic field between you and this person that makes every previous cycle irrelevant. You stopped playing, not in a dramatic way, not with a big speech or a social media declaration or a door slamming exit that they could frame as you being emotional or difficult. You stopped playing by simply withdrawing your energy, by stopping the chase, by ceasing to respond to the breadcrumbs, by no longer adjusting your temperature to match theirs, by no longer making yourself available for the late night texts that went nowhere, by no longer accepting the apologies that came without changed behavior, by no longer pretending that their inconsistency was something you could organize or fix or love into stability. And Virgo, when you did that, when you finally, quietly, with the dignified grace that only you possess, took your energy back and turned it toward yourself, something broke in them, something fundamental, something they did not know was load-bearing until it collapsed, because the entire game they were playing depended on one thing: your participation. They needed you to want them. They needed you to wait. They needed you to hope. They needed you to be the one reaching out, asking questions, trying to understand, offering comfort, offering second chances, offering the warm place to land whenever they decided to come back from whatever cold place they retreated to. Your hope was the fuel for their ego. Your waiting was the proof of their value. Your anxiety was the confirmation that they mattered. And when you stopped feeding that machine, when you cut off the supply of your precious, focused, devoted Virgo attention, the engine seized. The game board tipped over. The house of cards they had been so carefully balancing fell in slow motion, and for the first time they are looking at the ruins and realizing that you are not in them. You are standing outside, whole, quiet, and gone. And now, Virgo, now comes the part that I need you to understand with absolute clarity, because it is going to feel surreal when it starts happening. This person is not just missing you. They are not just regretting their behavior in the vague, comfortable way people regret things they cannot change. They are obsessing. I am talking about a level of mental and emotional fixation that is consuming their waking hours and haunting their sleep. I see them right now, in this exact moment, staring at their phone the way you used to stare at yours. I see them typing out messages and deleting them, typing them again, changing the words, adding emojis, removing emojis, wondering if a period at the end of a sentence makes them sound too cold, wondering if an exclamation point makes them sound too desperate. I see them scrolling through your old conversations, rereading things they said to you that they now recognize as cruel, as careless, as stupid, as the exact wrong words spoken at the exact wrong time by someone who had no idea how rare you were. I see them looking at photographs of you, zooming in on your face, trying to find evidence that you are still thinking about them, still hurting, still waiting, and they are finding none. That is what is driving them insane. The absence of evidence, the silence where there used to be a response, the void where there used to be your energy, your attention, your careful, beautiful, trying so hard love. They are realizing with a dawning horror that feels like a hand closing around their throat that they took you for granted at the exact moment you decided to stop letting them. Let me tell you what obsession looks like when it lives in someone who has spent their whole life being hot and cold. It is not pretty. It is not romantic in the way movies pretend it is. It is messy. It is frantic. It is a person who has always been in control, suddenly finding themselves at the mercy of feelings they do not know how to process because they spent so long suppressing them. This person is currently experiencing a kind of emotional vertigo. They are used to being the one who decides when the connection is on and when it is off. They are used to holding the remote control, switching between channels, between moods, between levels of availability. And now the remote is broken, the batteries have been removed, and the screen is just static. You're static. You're beautiful, maddening, unresponsive static. They are calling friends they have not spoken to in months, asking casual questions about you that they pretend are casual. They are driving past places you used to go together, not because they expect to see you, but because being in the space where your energy once existed is the only thing that calms the panic rising in their chest. They are staying up until 4 in the morning, replaying the last time they saw you, the last thing they said, the moment they could have chosen differently, the moment they could have reached for you instead of pulling away. And they are realizing that they did not just lose a good thing, they lost the best thing. They lost the one person who saw through their act. They lost the one person who loved them, not for the performance, but for the human trembling underneath it. And that loss is not something they can intellectualize away. It is not something they can bury in work or alcohol or other distractions. It is sitting on their chest like a stone, and every breath they take without you in their life feels like a mistake. I want you to understand why they were hot and cold, because I think it will help you navigate what is coming. This is not about making excuses for them. This is about seeing the machinery of their dysfunction so clearly that you are no longer tempted to take it personally. People who run hot and cold are not mysterious. They are not complicated geniuses of romance who are too deep for the rest of us to understand. They are terrified. They are children in adult bodies who learned early that love equals loss, that attachment equals abandonment, that if they let someone get too close, that person will eventually see the real them and leave. So they developed a defense mechanism. They learned to pull away before they could be left. They learned to withhold affection so that no one could ever accuse them of needing anyone. They learned to keep you in a state of uncertainty because certainty meant vulnerability, and vulnerability meant the possibility of pain they did not think they could survive. When they were hot, it was real. I need you to know that. The heat was not fake. The intensity was not a lie. They felt it. They felt you. They felt the gravitational pull of your heart, your mind, your soul, and for a moment they allowed themselves to fall into it. But the moment they felt themselves falling, the alarm went off. The old wound screamed, the survival instinct kicked in, and they ran. They ran to the cold place because the cold place was familiar. The cold place was safe. The cold place was where no one could hurt them because no one could reach them. And they stayed there in that frozen fortress until they felt you drifting away. Then the panic of losing you would override the panic of being close to you, and they would run back, hot again, apologetic again, intense again, making promises they meant in the moment but did not have the tools to keep. And you, beautiful, patient, hoping Virgo, you would open the door again because that is what you do. You believe in people, you believe in potential. You believe that if you just love them correctly, if you just find the right combination of presence and space, if you just prove that you are not going anywhere, they will finally feel safe enough to stay. But they never did until now. Because now, Virgo, something has happened that no amount of coldness can protect them from. They have realized that you are actually gone. Not gone in the temporary way you have been gone before, where they knew they could get you back with the right combination of charm and apology. Gone in the permanent way, the way where your energy has left the building, the way where your heart has stopped sending out signals for them to pick up, the way where you have become a closed door and they do not have the key anymore. And that realization has triggered something primal in them. It has broken the thermostat. The cold is gone. There is only heat now, only fire, only a desperation so raw and so all-consuming that they can no longer pretend they do not care. They care. They care so much it is physically hurting them. They care so much they cannot eat. They care so much they are making mistakes at work. They care so much they are looking at their own reflection and seeing a stranger, seeing someone who had the winning lottery ticket in their hand and traded it for the illusion of safety. And that person, that hot and cold player, that emotional contortionist, that master of mixed messages is about to show up at your door in a way you have never seen before. I am seeing the approach. I am seeing it with the kind of clarity that makes my skin prickle. This person is preparing a collision course with your life, and they are no longer interested in subtlety. They are no longer interested in playing it cool. The cool has been burned away by the heat of their own regret. They are going to reach out, and when they do, it is not going to be a text. It is not going to be a casual, like on a photo. It is not going to be a story view at 2 a.m. that they hope you notice. It is going to be direct. It is going to be undeniable. It is going to be a declaration so intense that it will stop your breath. Maybe it is a message so long it reads like a novel, a confession of every feeling they have been choking down since the day they met you. Maybe it is a phone call in the middle of the night, their voice cracked and raw, saying things they have never said to anyone. Maybe it is them showing up where you are, uninvited but undeniable, with eyes that look like they have not slept in days, and a presence so heavy you can feel it before they speak. Maybe it is a gift so thoughtful, so specific, so perfectly tailored to something you mentioned once in passing 6 months ago that you will know they have been thinking about nothing but you. Maybe it is a public declaration, a post, a gesture, a change in their behavior so visible that everyone in your shared world will know something massive has shifted. I cannot see the exact vehicle, Virgo, because their obsession is driving them to be creative, to be dramatic, to do whatever it takes to break through the wall you have built. But I can see the payload, and the payload is absolute, unfiltered, terrified, desperate love. The kind of love they were too afraid to name before. The kind of love that does not ask for space. The kind of love that says, I am done running. I am done hiding. I am done pretending I do not need you. Please, please. I will do anything. Just let me back in. And Virgo, I need you to be ready. I need you to be steady. Because when this hits, when this person who has kept you on ice for so long suddenly turns into a wildfire aimed directly at your heart, it is going to trigger every wound you have been nursing. It is going to feel like validation. It is going to feel like victory. It is going to feel like the moment you have been waiting for, the proof that you were right, that they did love you, that you were not crazy for feeling what you felt. And all of that may be true. But feeling true and being healthy are not the same thing. And I need you to know the difference before you open that door. Because this person is not showing up as a changed soul who has done the work. They are showing up as a terrified soul who has lost control. They are not coming back because they have healed the wound that made them run. They are coming back because the pain of losing you has finally outweighed the pain of being close to you. That is not growth. That is math. That is a survival calculation, not a spiritual transformation. And if you let them back in based on the intensity of their desperation rather than the evidence of their evolution, you will find yourself right back in the same cycle 3 months from now, 6 months from now, staring at your phone at 3 in the morning, wondering where the heat went. So here is what you do. Here is how you handle the return of the hot and cold player when they come back burning. First, you do not respond immediately. You do not let their urgency become your urgency. You let their message sit. You let their call go to voicemail. You let them wait outside your door while you breathe, while you ground yourself, while you remember who you were before they made you feel like you were not enough. You reclaim the power of the pause, because the pause is where your clarity lives. Second, you watch for consistency, not intensity. Anyone can be obsessed for a week. Anyone can pour out their heart in a moment of panic. Anyone can make grand promises when they are afraid of losing something. But can they show up tomorrow? Can they show up next week? Can they maintain warmth when you are not performing gratitude? Can they stay present when the initial fear of loss subsides and the old terror of intimacy starts whispering again? That is the test, and they do not get to take that test from inside your heart. They take it from outside, proving themselves over time with actions that match their words, with warmth that does not turn into ice the moment they feel safe again. Third, you name what happened. You do not pretend the hot and cold pattern never existed. You do not let them rewrite history with their current desperation. You say, you hurt me. You kept me in limbo. You made me doubt my own value. I will not live in that uncertainty again. If you want me, you stay. You do not run. You do not retreat. You do not disappear when it gets real. If you cannot promise that with your whole chest, then your obsession is not love. It is just fear wearing a better costume. And fourth, you protect your peace at all costs. If they show any sign of the old pattern, if the heat starts to flicker, if the distance starts to creep back in, if the excuses start to form, you do not wait. You do not analyze. You do not try to fix it. You end it with the same quiet dignity you used when you walked away the first time. Because your heart is not a game, Virgo. It is not an arcade where they can insert a coin of desperation and play until they get bored. Your heart is a temple, and the games are over. I want you to imagine something. I want you to imagine yourself 30 days from now. In one version of the future, you have let them back in because their obsession felt so good, so validating, so intoxicating. And for a week, maybe 2, it is heaven. They are attentive, they are present, They are everything you wanted. But slowly, the old machinery starts up again. The texts get shorter. The absences get longer. The cold returns, and you are left standing in the same freezer you spent months trying to thaw your way out of, except now you feel foolish for having gone back. In the other version of the future, you hold your ground. You let them prove themselves. You let them demonstrate that the hot and cold was a phase they have outgrown, not a pattern they are trapped in. And if they cannot prove that, you let them go. You let them face the consequences of their own inconsistency. You let them learn that your love is not a renewable resource they can waste whenever they feel insecure. And in that version, Virgo, you are not sad. You are not lonely. You are not pining. You are standing in your own warmth, generating your own heat, attracting someone who does not need to play games because they are not afraid of love. And that person, that steady, consistent, genuinely available person, is waiting for the space to open up. But that space only opens if you do not let the old tenant back in just because they are pounding on the door. The games are over. Say it with me. The games are over. You are not a prize to be won in a contest of who can care less. You are not a mystery to be solved by intermittent reinforcement. You are not a backup plan for someone who only wants you when their primary source of validation dries up. You are a Virgo. You are thorough. You are loyal. You are devoted. You are the person who remembers birthdays and allergies and favorite songs and the exact way someone likes their coffee. You are the person who shows up early, who follows through, who builds something solid out of the raw materials of daily life. You do not do half measures. You do not do casual. You do not do lukewarm. And you will not accept it anymore. Not from this person, not from anyone. The bar has been raised. The standard has been set. And the only people who get to stand next to you now are the ones who can match your consistency with their own, who can match your warmth and never pull away, who can look at your heart with all its careful compartments and its hidden tenderness and say, I see this, I honor this, I protect this, I do not play with this. This person who is obsessively wanting you back right now, they are going to learn a hard lesson. They are going to learn that you cannot treat a diamond like a pebble and then expect it to still be sitting in the gravel when you finally realize what you threw away. They are going to learn that your patience was a gift, not a guarantee. They are going to learn that your love was a privilege, not a right. And whether they learn it with you or without you depends entirely on whether they can become someone worthy of what they are begging to return to. That is not your responsibility to figure out. That is not your project to manage. You are not their therapist. You are not their life coach. You are not the reward at the end of their personal growth journey that they get to collect just because they finally showed up. You are the destination. You are the standard. You are the love they did not know how to keep. And if they want another chance, they need to become the person who knows how to keep it, not the person who is terrified of losing it, not the person who is obsessed with possessing it, the person who is capable of nurturing it day after day, without retreat, without games, without the temperature dropping every time they get scared. So when the message comes, when the call lights up your screen, when the knock echoes through your apartment at an hour that suggests they have not slept in days, you breathe. You remember this moment. You remember that You are not the same person who used to jump at every breadcrumb. You remember that your energy is precious. You remember that the games are over, and you choose. You choose based on what is healthy, not what is familiar. You choose based on what is consistent, not what is intense. You choose based on the future you want, not the past. You are afraid to let go of. And whatever you choose, Virgo, you choose with your head held high and your heart protected, because you have earned the right to be chosen back every single day, not just when someone is afraid of losing you. If you felt the truth of this reading vibrating in your chest, if you know exactly who I am talking about, if you have been waiting for the sign that it is time to stop playing, I want you to claim your power right now. Drop a comment below and write, "The games are over." Let the universe record your declaration. Let your own soul hear you say it out loud. And if this message found you at the exact moment you needed to stop refreshing your phone and start reclaiming your peace, subscribe for more readings that cut through the noise and speak directly to what is real. You are not a game. You are not a toy. You are not an option. And very soon, the person who treated you like one is going to understand that better than they have ever understood anything in their life. Stay steady, Virgo. Stay warm. Stay gone until someone proves they know how to keep you. The games are over, and your real life is just beginning.